Hi guys, welcome back to In Case of Econ Struggles. Today I'm going to talk about another environmental economics topic. I'm going to talk about the Coase Theorem, and I'm going to use a fun example to sort of explain the Coase Theorem. So as usual, timestamps are below if you would like to jump around, but let's go ahead and get right into it. So what I'm going to use as my basic example for today for the Coase Theorem is that we're going to say we have two neighbors. Bill is going to live in one house, and then the house next door is going to live a frat, or a Greek life. They're going to be sigma, 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 or tri-sig. And in this example, Tri-Sig decides to host a super loud party right next to Bill. So Bill's sad because he's got to listen to the noise that's coming from this Tri-Sig party. And so since we have this conflict, since there's this externality from Tri-Sig where they're deciding to have a party, Bill does not get to decide whether or not Tri-Sig has that party or not, but he's still affected by Tri-Sig's decision to have that party. So he's subjected to a negative externality. And we know that one way we can deal with this negative externality is we can use sort of government intervention. But the other option is going to be based on this Coase Theorem, where what we can do is if we assign well-defined property rights to either Bill or Tri-Sig, we let Bill and Tri-Sig just talk, work it out amongst themselves. And just by working it out, Bill and Tri-Sig are going to get to the Pareto optimal. They're going to get to the efficient allocation. They're going to get to the efficient outcome just again by talking amongst themselves, given that one of them has the property right and that property right is well defined. There are a couple other requirements we need in order for this Coase theorem to work just besides well-defined property rights. So like for example, does Bill have the right to a peace and quiet in his house? Or does Tri-Sig have the right to party? That's what we mean in this case by a well-defined property right. We also have some other requirements, like there has to be low or zero transaction costs. So in this example, right, Bill nor Tri-Sig, they don't need to hire lawyers, they don't need to file paperwork with the city, they can just talk amongst themselves. There's basically zero transaction costs for them walking across the street or walking to each other's house to talk about this directly face to face. The other thing that we need to have is perfect information. Both Bill and Tri-Sig need to fully understand the value that each party has going in so that we can get to the efficient outcome. Okay, so now let's go back to this example and let's put some numbers on this example so we can really start getting into it. So suppose that for Bill, the cost of hearing this party, the cost of the noise in his house, let's say he values that at $100, and let's say that Tri-Sig values hosting this party at about $80. Well, currently, because we're not thinking about the externality at all, Tri-Sig is currently hosting the party, so they get plus 80. Bill suffers this cost of 100. And so the total welfare in this neighborhood right now is minus 20 if this neighborhood is just Bill and Tri-Sig's house. Now on the other hand, if the party were not to happen, so the total welfare of no party, well, Bill gets his $100 back because he no longer has to deal with this cost of listening to this party. So maybe that's the benefit of having peace and quiet. And so Tri-Sig's value, they don't get this 80, so total welfare in this neighborhood without the party is 20. So what we can see right away is that the efficient outcome in this case is that Tri-Sig shouldn't host the party because the value that Tri-Sig gets from hosting is less than the cost to Bill of having to deal with this noise. So if we thought about all these costs, we wouldn't have the party. That's the efficient outcome in this case with these numbers. Now what we're going to say is we're going to think about property rights and we're going to assign them a couple of different ways and see what happens. The important thing about the Coase theorem is that no matter who the property right goes to, it should not change the optimal outcome or the efficient outcome in this situation. So whether or not Bill has the right to a quiet house, whether or not Tri-Sig has the right to party, in this example, just based on the numbers, it should always be the case that this party doesn't happen. And so when you're doing Coase theorem problems, if you think about what the efficient outcome is, when you change property rights, it shouldn't change what that outcome is because we should always get to the efficient outcome no matter who has the property right. So let's get into case number 1 where Tri-Sig has the right to party. Well, again, Bill's cost is 100, Tri-Sig's value is 80. So what Bill could do is Bill could just say, hey Tri-Sig, I will pay you $80. I will give you $80 in cash in order for you to not have this party. Tri-Sig says, okay, even if you gave us $81, well then we have $1 of surplus and we're still happier shutting down this party than going on with this party. And so welfare in this neighborhood, Bill gets his $100 from not having to deal with the noise. He's paid $80 to Tri-Sig or $81 or whatever it is. Tri-Sig takes that money and they lose the value of this party, but total welfare in this neighborhood is 20 because now we've gotten to the efficient outcome where this party doesn't happen. And so we have the same amount of welfare that we would when this party doesn't happen. We're just shifting around which part of that welfare goes to Bill and which part of that welfare goes to Tri-Sig. Now we're going to change the property right so that now Bill has the right to peace and quiet in his house. And again, even though we've changed the property right, we should still get to the point where this party doesn't happen. And the reason why this party doesn't happen when Bill has the right is, of course, Tri-Sig's value of the party is 80. So if they wanted to pay Bill in order to let this party go on, they would have to pay Bill at least $100. Well, the value to Trisig is only $80, which is less than $100. So it's not worth it for Trisig to pay Bill off in order to host this party. So what happens is we go back to the situation before, where Bill gets $100 because he has peace and quiet. Trisig loses this $80 because they no longer get to have this party. And so total welfare in this neighborhood is back to $20. And again, we're in that efficient outcome where the party doesn't happen. Now I'm going to put a slightly different spin on this story, and let's say that there exists some noise-canceling headphones, and maybe these noise-canceling headphones cost $10. So now, if we have no headphones, like no one buys the headphones, and we have this party, Trisig hosts this party, our total surplus is still minus 20 like we had before originally. But now, if we have the party, and noise-canceling headphones get into Bill's hands somehow, some way, then what's going to happen is Bill's going to get his $100 because it's going to be peaceful and quiet to him. And we'll just assume that with the noise-canceling headphones, it's exactly equal to if the party doesn't happen. Trisig still gets the $80 because they still get to host the party. And then somehow we just have to pay the $10 for those headphones. So surplus in the neighborhood jumps to $170, which you can see is definitely the efficient outcome compared to not having the party. And so the efficient outcome is these headphones need to be purchased. Now, when we think about liability, the only thing that's going to change is who's paying for these headphones. So we'll just go through each possible case, where if Trisig is not liable, so if they're allowed to host this party, then Bill's just going to go out and he's going to buy these noise-canceling headphones. So he's going to pay the $10, and his total welfare is going to be $90 because he got the $100 for peace and quiet, minus the $10 he paid for those headphones. Trisig gets to host their party, and we're back to a total surplus of $170. Now again, if we switch it where Trisig is liable, they cannot have this party or they have to compensate Bill for the noise, then again we should still have the same outcome, but now it's going to be different in terms of who pays for those headphones. Specifically, what's going to happen is Bill's going to get his $100 because he is going to be able to enjoy the peace and quiet with those headphones, and Trisig is simply just going to pay for the headphones and give them to Bill. So now they're going to get the $80, which is the value of hosting that party, minus the $10 they paid in order to give Bill those noise-canceling headphones, and we're back to a surplus of $170. So again, just to reiterate, with the Coase Theorem, we're saying that there's always going to be bargaining between the two parties so that we get to that efficient outcome. What's going to change is who's paying who based on the property right. And if we have something like these noise-canceling headphones where we find out that the efficient outcome is for that thing to be purchased, liability or property rights isn't going to change whether or not we purchase that device. It's only going to change who pays for that device. So hopefully that makes the Coase Theorem make a little more sense. If you still got questions, feel free to put that in the comment section below. But if this video or these videos in general are helping you out, please like and subscribe. We'll see you next time for another case of econ struggles.